Garry feels the heat because he's getting outplayed here.
Okay. Okay.
You know, so Garry is I don't know. I mean, he would be able to say it better, but I mean, if you were to imagine, you've got this beautiful actress sitting there, and he's outplaying you. He must have thought something is wrong here.
Yeah, Garry must be feeling like he's in a movie or something.
Am I in a movie scene?
Yeah.
Yes, nonsense and analysis.
Here we go again. What do so? Kasparov. When I grew up, when I started playing chess, Garry was the world champion, or he was fighting for the championships, basically for the title against Karpov, of course.
Yeah.
And when you grow up, the first world champion you meet in a book or wherever, you automatically get attracted to that play.
Of course.
And I immediately adopted all of his openings.
Okay.
So he's someone that I've always admired, and iconic figure in chess.
Dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think today I would like to hear more about Garry, and of course, I think Garry visited South Africa once. So
Yes,
what can you
indeed.
tell us about that?
Yes. So this is in 2011. So I was involved with Moves for Life. We had a programs, a trust, and we're basically promoting chess. And actually it went quite well. We did a good job. And so along the way, we got sort of introduced to Garry, and in the same time, Garry wanted to do the Kasparov Chess Foundation Africa, right?
Okay.
So so it made sense in a way. So anyway, there was then an idea that possibly there should be some simultaneous exhibitions, because that normally attracts a lot of
course.
of media, no?
Garry, of course.
Of course. So there was actually the one in Gauteng in the Saibono Center, actually, the Science Center. Then there was another one in Cape Town. I think it was on the Table Mountain.
Table Mountain, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
So that definitely attracted media attention, locally, internationally, and so on. So now I want to tell a background story of what happened in the simultaneous that actually it attracted a lot of international news.
Okay.
Because of what then happened in the simultaneous, So all right, so that's enough of the background story. Let's jump into it.
Okay.
So now on the day of the simultaneous, we had obviously then thought, okay, look, it would be great if we got some celebrities involved in the simultaneous, right?
Yeah.
Because then it means even more media interest.
Yeah.
So we actually got two celebrities. So the one was Mr. Matole Motshekga. He is the husband of the current Minister of Education, Ms. Angie Motshekga.
Okay.
He was not at that time, but prior to that, he was the premier of Gauteng. So
Okay.
a very high profile politician,
Yeah.
member of parliament, and so on and so on. Then the other celebrity we had who was going to be part of this simultaneous was Miss Katlego Danke. Okay. Now, Miss Katlego Danke is a stunning actress who acted in Generations. So for anyone who doesn't know Generations, I mean, Generations used to be, it's still playing, but at some point it was really, really popular in South Africa.
Yeah.
It had a viewership of around 4.5 million every day. I mean, this is huge.
Okay.
So we got these two celebrities. Now, Mr. Muteka could play a bit of chess. He could play chess. So that was fine.
Yeah.
But now, the morning of the simul, when Miss Katlego Danke came, she then said, "Look, I cannot play chess, but I like, she wants to promote the whole thing, but she doesn't know how to play chess. So then I was given the task to show her the rules.
Crash course.
Yeah, crash course in chess, which I did. But as everyone can appreciate, if you learn something like it's a little bit complex chess, that moves, the pieces and so on, it could be a little confusing,
especially if you in that moment on stage, right? And
exactly,
pressure gets to you. It's like almost like writing a test.
Yeah.
Right? And you got all the info inside, but once you're under pressure, all of a sudden you can eat blank as well.
That's it. So we think of this and we say, okay, it's as much as we would like to attract the media, but we want to attract them for the right reasons. So we say, okay, well, think that one of the ways to sort of make sure that this doesn't get out of hand is that we kind of have somebody who knows how to play chess, who will sit between the two celebrities and basically just play a monitoring role. Like, the celebrity would then say to them, they would be playing on their own, but they would say to him, I'm thinking of playing this one over there. And the whole idea was then the expert is supposed to look and say, no, that would be an illegal move. Remember the knight moves like an L. You can go there, or there. But then the actual move should then be played by the celebrity. Oh, well, okay. Sounded simple enough.
Sounds good on paper.
Yeah. Like everything else, right? So anyway, the simultaneous starts, and I wasn't there watching. There was a big crowd and everything, but we all had a number of things to do, tasks, and so we're all basically running around and doing this and that,
And Gary's in the building, of course.
Yeah, no, well, Gary's playing. I mean, it's already going,
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, there's a commotion. After a while, there's a huge commotion that's happening.
Okay.
And so I'm looking, but I cannot get close, because there's a whole crowd around, media, spectators, everything. Okay. Anyway, I what's happening? Well, basically, here's what happens. So the expert we get is actually Gaugelo Musetle.
Sadly, of course.
Very good player.
Yeah.
2,200 plus strength.
Very strong, yeah.
And at one stage, he was SA Open champion. And actually, the game we're going to profile is one of a great game that he played, one of his wins, just to show everyone what a great player he is. Anyway, he's the expert that is supposed to guide the two celebrities.
Okay.
So what happens is that everything goes well, but at some stage, I think, looking at Garry with his 2850 Elo rating, moving around, at some point, I think Musetle, KG, he started licking his lips and started wanting to get a piece of that.
Yes. Yes.
He's just somehow, in battle, he couldn't help himself.
They say Gary's got this aura or this energy about him when he's playing. So I mean, he's probably feeling that, and
He gets drawn in. He gets drawn in.
Yeah.
Right. So what actually happens now? Instead of him advising, in a sense, waiting for the celebrities to say, well, I will play over there.
And he'll just confirm.
And he'll just confirm if it's not if it's good or bad, but if it's legal.
Yeah.
Right. He goes a step further. I don't know when he decides to do this, but he decides to play against Garry.
Okay.
So we have KG Musetle playing through the two celebrities, 2 games against Garry Kasparov. Now, Garry Kasparov had, because this is, I mean, it's a simultaneous and it's nothing, although he's very, of course, Kasparov is very competitive and he wants to win every game. But of course, there was a cutoff that no player should be stronger than 2,000.
Oh, okay.
Something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I also, maybe 1,800 or whatever, there's usually a cutoff.
Yeah. There's usually a cutoff, but it's not due to we know it's not due to him being worried, because we know he played against Germany, 4 GMs, strong grandmasters. He beat them in a clock simultaneous. He beat Israel in a clock simultaneous. I think it was only Gelfand didn't play, but everyone else, Smirin, Zudowski, all those guys played. I mean, Garry cleaned them.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy is he's he's Kasparov.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's just that, in that he's probably in a more relaxed-ish atmosphere. So he needs to know, who's really strong and where should I pitch, right? Yeah. Probably which approach, which openings, whatever, as we all know, right? You play differently depending on the strength of the opposition, of course. So anyway, along the way, Garry feels the heat because he's getting outplayed here.
Okay. Okay.
So Garry is I don't know, I mean, he would be able to say it better, but I mean, if you were to imagine, you've got this beautiful actress sitting there and he's outplaying you. He must have thought something is wrong here.
Yeah, Garry must be feeling like he's in a movie or something.
Am I in a movie scene,
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know how he finds out, but he does. He probably passes and looks behind him to check what's happening. And he picks up that there's someone who's actually helping. So what happens is that he actually starts complaining, and if anyone was to search for this, I think there is actually a video
on
YouTube, about Garry complaining, and
Gunther was there, right?
Yeah. Gunther
was the arbiter.
Falkenberg was the arbiter, and Graham Jenkinson is the organizer, and so on. So anyway, he complains, and the funny thing is that after a while, he then says after all, after he complained, he then said, actually, Musetle must play. He must not hide.
Okay.
He must not hide.
Okay.
Behind. Come out, sit down and play.
Yes.
And I think he quickly finished the rest of the games. If I remember well, I think I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody beat him. But I know for sure someone who took a draw away from him was the late Steven Skosana. Remember Steven Crusher?
Yes, of course, Steven. Of course, rest in peace.
Hyena.
Yeah.
May you rest in peace. Yeah. And he took a draw.
Okay.
From he played a draw, and so I think he agreed a draw to Steven and everything. He finished everything, and then he started
Now
focusing.
he's focusing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember it was now so tense, and I have this vivid picture of Katlego Danke, the actress. She's thinking probably to herself, what have I got myself into here? And she was taking a bag, quickly, and she was shaking her head. I don't know what she was saying. I don't want to be part of this. Took the bag, and quickly ran, like not ran, but quickly got out of there.
Yeah.
And I think that Musetle actually, if memory serves me well, they defaulted the games, like they wouldn't be counted into the
Actual tally. Yeah.
the tally of the Simo.
Yeah.
But I think that he lost. I think he lost. Yeah, I think he lost both games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so he played it out.
He played it out.
Okay.
Oh, come on now.
Okay.
What chance do you have? Do you have this guy who was 2850 sitting there? Even if you had a small little advantage, it's going to evaporate quickly.
Okay.
So that was like so that was a very, very funny story about that simultaneous.
That's good to hear, because I heard some stories, but not the full story here and there. And I heard Mosquito was playing. Of course, Mosetle is fondly known as Mosquito.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard he was playing, and but I didn't get the full story. So now I know the background. Okay, that's what happened.
Yes.
Yeah, very interesting. I do remember seeing some YouTube clip of Kasparov being quite unhappy about the situation. Yeah, not too long, but he was frustrated. Let's say frustrated.
No, which is understandable.
Yeah.
If nobody tells you that there's a player who has this level, you have every right to be upset.
Yeah.
That was understandable.
And
but anyway, to in order to just get so the viewers can get a glimpse of how strong Musetle is, I thought we should look at one of his games today. And today we'll be looking at a game that he played in 2014, Musetle.
Okay.
He played against Providence. It was in one of the Capablanca events. Remember the Capablanca events that used to be in Pretoria?
Yes.
Very nice
event.
Organized events. Yeah. And let's he was playing with the white pieces here. So let's get into it.
Okay. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Right. Let's. So he's going to go for some kind of a reversed Grunfeld. Yeah, and this approach. I just would like to advise some of the viewers that if you're feeling that you're not adequately prepared, with the white pieces, it's not a bad idea to change. To switch, you choose an opening that you normally play as black. Like imagine you play the Nimzo Indian or Queen's Indian as black, then you can start with knight f3, d5, e3, then b3.
You're familiar with
You're
your
familiar
structure.
with the structures, with the breaks, with many things, but you are a move ahead. So this basically guarantees at least equality against a very strong player, and sometimes even more. I just for a second remembered one of my games, one of my very best games I played against Peter Leko, and I reversed as well. I played a black opening with the white pieces, and at least I wasn't better, but I wasn't worse. So that always guarantees. So this is what he's doing here.
One thing that you can also do with that, by the way, is, for instance, if you play a reversed opening, sometimes you can catch out your opponent in the sense that you are playing black with your white pieces, but the opponent might be playing a d4 opening, but he's actually an e4 player, or he might be playing an e4 opening and he's actually a d4 player.
Exactly. That is sometimes the added advantage to it. That not only do you get your structure, but you may have taken your opponent completely out of his setup or hair setup. So So that's what KG is going for here.
Okay.
And it goes normally. So completely, and plays the c4. So he's playing a Grunfeld. reversed. And okay, this is a very nice move, knight a3, because already you see, it's always about pawn breaks. You know, I used to struggle a lot when I was a junior in terms of, you know, I would read books and they would always say you must have a plan, right? And I was thinking, but what are they talking about?
Yeah.
What plan?
Yeah.
And then no one ever explained this. They would say planlessly punished. You know, yeah, okay, great, but what plan are you talking about? You know, and then it took me a long time to realize that okay, it's not the only way, but one of the critical ways in which you find a plan is you plan a pawn break, right? If you'll always have pawn breaks available. For an example, white here has got 2 pawn breaks, e3 as well as f4. Then you will choose to place your pieces in accordance with that pawn break. So you are thinking, okay, if I make this pawn break, what are the possible positions that I could arrive, that I could get if my opponent takes or I take? So if you just look at that knight a3, white is already thinking about playing some e3 and then probably taking on d4. And then they will put, so on d4 will be a weakish pawn, let's put it that way. And then the knight on a3 will go to b5 and the bishop on c1 will go to f4. Attacking c7, attacking d6, right? So as we can see, and voila, so white is playing with a plan.
Nice.
Yeah, so one can see just this idea of pawn breaks and setting your pieces up, preparing for the possible changes in structure. You already have a very nice plan and you know what to do. Okay, so let's see what happens.
Nice. I believe it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was it the Yusupov that said, if your position does not have, if you don't have pawn breaks, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So, because how do you get your pieces into the game?
Yeah.
That means you have to defend, right?
Yeah. All right, let's see.
So gets the pawn break with a3, grabs, and so now we have all these squares available and the bishop immediately hits them. So of course, Providence is a good player. He understands that knight b5 is coming and he tries a6. But problem with a6, it weakens b6.
Yeah. Throwback is b6.
Drop. Yeah. But what else can you do? And now, you know, we look at all these black squares, they are all available. And notice now, this is sort of the master touch, because I think a less experienced player will rush to immediately go c5 to attack these squares and so on. But the thing about this is that one has to always remember, when you are, especially when you're going over your territory, you know, because you got first to the 4th rank. When you go to the 5th rank, you are declaring war. And you have to have your forces ready.
Yeah.
And white doesn't have them. The rook is there. The queen is not there. The rook is not there. Your forces are not ready. You're not ready to go to war, so to speak. So look at how the nice build-up he goes for. So he goes queen d2. Very nice. Now supporting the bishop. Maybe bishop h6, but the bishop is more important because it goes for the black squares. Okay, rook e8. Rook c1 will support the pawn push. Yeah. Bishop f5. And now feels that, okay, after bishop f5, feels that knight c5 is uncomfortable, because now it's also about coordination. The knight on c5 coordinates with the bishop on g2 along that beautiful diagonal. There's a lot of uncomfortable pressure, you know, against black.
Yeah.
So
Rook b8 isn't even possible over there.
Exactly, and b6 makes more weaknesses.
Yeah.
I mean, you play b6, play knight d3, right? Blockading the pawn and then, you know, going further. So it's really, you know, the thing about a beautifully played positional game is that it looks effortless. It looks effortless because it makes sense.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It makes sense. That's why it looks effortless.
Yeah.
You know? And you can see white's moves, it looks like white's not even trying. It looks like they just play. And this is sort of a very nice sign of a very well played strategic game. Okay, let's see what happens.
b6 with this.
94.
And black kind of admits here that he's definitely not playing for more than equality.
Getting outplayed. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely. And uncomfortable. You know, queen b4 would have not even focused b7 hands, right? You know, queen b4, queen takes b4, knight takes b4, and the b7 pawn is hanging. Yeah, trouble.
Okay.
Yeah. And plays c5. And if you really, the thing is, what impresses me more about the game, besides the game itself, is the understanding of how strong Providence is. I have the feeling that many players in Africa certainly are underrated. Because not so many tournaments to play.
Yeah.
So I mean, Providence is a very strong player, and in all the African individuals, I remember he always gives the Egyptians a tough time. He always is fighting there. He's a good player. And now you look at how he's being pushed back.
Yeah.
So easily. It looks effortless. Yeah, let's see what it does.
95.
Tries 95. Strong move, cutting the coordination. So now the bishop is excuse me, the knight is hanging. Plays bishop f5.
Bishop e4, knight
Excuse
c4.
me, bishop e4, knight c4. These are also another very important, I think, moment, because it's also because you could also get greedy as white. I guess after bishop e4, you could try bishop h3 to hold on to your bishop. But I think at some point, it's also about exchanging the opponent's good pieces as well. Not being greedy with that. It also took me. I used to have a problem with that. Like, I see that this piece is strong, and my opponent wants to exchange, so I'm greedy. I want to keep all my. But now you're putting your pieces out of good positions.
Yeah, just to hold on.
Right, just to hold on to them. So sometimes it's just good to say, well, my piece is actually very strong, because that white square bishop was a monster controlling the diagonal. But just admitting that, that white square bishop by black is one of black's most important pieces. So let's exchange it. It's also a very nice positional decision that is quiet but very powerful.
Yeah. Okay, rook e6.
Plays rook e6. This is a beautiful move. Knight b6 takes, and then rook goes to a6.
Rook is forced to go to a7, right?
This is a restriction. So I would like you to please show another position. We'll come back to this. Just on restriction, because it's possible to restrict any one of these three pieces: rook, knight, or bishop. And sometimes, even if you don't know what to do, sometimes if you just restrict your opponent's pieces, you can find that could be the key in a position. And I'm just giving advice to the viewers there.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you look at this position, let's start with the knight. So the black knight is restricted by the pawn on g3. So the knight cannot move to f4, cannot move to h4. So if you think about it, that knight, the squares h4, e5, f4, e5 are not available for it's been completely restricted. And then on the other hand, if we look at black's position, we realize that the pawns b7, c6, d5 restrict the bishop on g2. Yeah. So the bishop on g2 is also not that effective because it's restricted by these pawns. So one can see just this restriction, that you can restrict actually rook, knight, or bishop, and it's a very nice tool to try and play during the game, amongst other things that you could be doing.
Yeah, very important theme that I know a lot of the youngsters out there just want to, they want to catch the piece, they don't want to restrict, they want to get it. So
it's a very
restriction
it's a very nice point.
Very powerful.
Actually, that you mentioned this point, let's just talk about this. When you say that, I remember one game, classical game, I think Botvinnik definitely plays white. I think it's Boleslavsky plays, and it's a French, and there's restriction like this, right? And Botvinnik plays, you can just show me with the arrows, h4, pawn to h4, and then the opponent plays f6 somewhere there. So he doesn't, I'm going back to what you are saying in terms of not wanting to attack the piece, because now he understood that if he pushes the knight will go to h8, to f7, then to g5.
Yep.
The knight comes back, because you will have given that knight that square, because your pawn would now be on h5, you see. So restricting a piece doesn't mean that you want to win the piece. It means you want to restrict the piece.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it means. You know?
Yeah, good point over there.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so restriction quite important, and Mosetle was using it quite nicely here against Providence. Look at this rook, everyone. The rook cannot get onto any square over there. The rook is boxed in.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, look, the way that Mosetle has played this game, if you said, look, the player playing white is some Russian master, you would have believed it, because strategically, how he's pressing so effortlessly. Very, very beautiful.
Beautiful stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So now another beautiful move, rook f to e1. Now this move is, Karpov was always playing like this, playing positional themes with some tactics as well. So rook f e1, positional theme, the rook on e6 is a very active piece. Yes. And white wants to exchange it, right? But tactics. So, for example, if black plays rook takes d6, white will play c takes d6, queen takes b6, rook e8 check, bishop f8, queen h6.
And
so
it's over.
Checks out tactically as well. So it's a very nice balance, mastery of the game. Yeah. Positional theme, but a tactical idea behind it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tactics are gluing the positional theme together.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So plays Providence tries bishop e5, but now it's getting difficult. Grabs and rook, because basically the rook is not playing, no? So he tries f6, rook e4, 3, 4, 7, queen e3, threatens back rank. Rook e8 is threatened. Tries king f8, rook d4, queen e8, knight d7.
Queen drops, right?
Yeah. What a beautiful game.
Beautiful stuff there. Yeah, that was smooth.
Yeah. So now the point though is that if you look at a game like this, then you start to realize why Garry Kasparov became upset.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Because a player like this, if you're playing a simultaneous, a player who's got all this arsenal, you give him just the smallest little chance, is going to crush you.
Yeah.
So the point is that so Garry Kasparov was definitely right that if there are such players in a simultaneous exhibition, he needs to know that.
Yeah, and he needs to be aware of it.
He needs to be aware of that, right? That there are players who can do that against you if given a chance. Yeah. So
that's quite fair point, and interesting story there. What a nice game here by Mosetle. And okay, now we know a bit more of background. I do have a small story talking about the simul. You mentioned that Steven Skosana, the crusher, he got a draw. I got a small story for the viewers on Steven. So I saw Steven a couple of times at tournaments. I got to chat with him here and there, not too much, but I remember one of the first times I saw him at an event. It was some rapid event. It must have been in Gauteng somewhere. And it was a nice rapid event. I remember it was myself, I think Henry Steele was playing, Van der Nat was playing. I think that in the playoffs, it was Mabu Sela and Van der Nat playing some playoffs.
Okay.
But, in any event, I was still, it must have been like 10 years ago or something. And I saw Steven playing in the event as well. And I noticed, the guy has about 2,000 rating or something, 2,000 plus. Because it looked like he was cracking jokes here and there at the tournament. So I didn't think that the guy says, but then I saw his rating. I'm like, okay, this guy can play. And I was still an aspiring youngster, so confident and everything. And I had a bump somewhere in the event. And then the next game, so I lost the game somewhere. I think I lost against Nick. And then the next game, I wanted to bounce back. And I get Steven. Now I'm thinking, okay, I need to collect a point. So, I'm playing a bit slower than Steven. I usually take my time, and I'm beginning to squeeze. I'm trying to squeeze him, but he is holding me, he's keeping me back, right? We're playing, and I'm taking more time. I'm trying to perfect. I'm taking more time, and eventually, at some point, I slip, and all of a sudden, from trying to squeeze, now I've committed myself to so much time usage that now I'm low on the clock. I'm playing against a guy that has been playing quite well during the game, and all of a sudden, I need to now, my mindset changes from trying to win all of a sudden with a little time. I'm probably slightly worse now as well.
Right.
I need to now scramble for a draw. And just one or two moves after that, I'm not sure if it was myself or it was Steven himself. I think he offered me a draw.
Okay.
And I grabbed it, of course. I jumped and I grabbed it. Like, oof, okay, now I'm relieved. So after the game, now it was kind of clear that, okay, I was trying to squeeze. But after the game, I asked him, I was curious, but why didn't you try to beat me? Why didn't you try to beat me? So he said, no, it was going to be obvious, man. I was just trying to, I would have just been playing for time then.
Oh.
So I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's when I got to know Steven. So that's my small story. That's the first time that I my encounter with Steven, and it was quite a memorable one. And I was quite impressed with that moment, actually.
There's another story that now that you mentioned that I remembered. It was in the Commonwealth, and Steven, it was the one in Joburg. I don't remember what year it was, but I think Nigel Short played, and a bunch of grandmasters from India played as well. And there was a blitz event, and Steven beat I think it was Sachdev.
Okay.
Yeah, in a blitz, right? And Steven, after wins the game, and then Steven stands up and goes,
yeah, I remember
Russia.
Yes. Classic Russia.
Yeah, of course. What a guy.
Yeah, good times that. So okay, so that's, I think, all for today, right? Enough nonsense for today. And viewers out there, if you like what you've seen, please don't forget to press the subscribe button, and we will see you for the next video. Cheers.